Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be jumping down into the charts for Vechain, see what's been going on most recently and what I still expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with every video that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you've not yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out today? Right, let's get into this, right? So Vechain paired up with USDT. We're on the hourly chart and, you know, most of these kind of micro movements here I would expect to play out over a couple of days or so, but nothing really much more than that, but definitely not anything any quicker, right? We should be thinking that this is going to take a couple of days and we don't think it's going to happen, you know, within the next 2 hours, for example. But of course, timing is always the hardest thing to get in this crypto space. So sometimes, you know, it might take longer and sometimes it might take shorter. Just be aware that I'm not expecting this to play out anytime soon. You know, it's not going to happen, you know, by the time this video goes live, for example. At least I wouldn't expect it to. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this recent move, right? So we're in this kind of ABC structure coming down, which is actually more of yeah, I mean, you could argue it is it's probably a WXY rather than an ABC, but nonetheless, we are in this structure, right? We had the bounce upwards, we had that kind of bit of a double tap here, and then we're pulling on down. We have one clear wave coming down. This is more of an ABC structure. We bounced up as we spoke about yesterday. I said it was probably going to move a little bit higher, which it did, and then it pulled back down. So we can go ahead. It's not actually a triangle or anything like that. I just did that for illustrations. Basically what we've got here is this corrective pattern that just played out like that and pretty much was a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'll go ahead and just check to make sure that we are all aligned and there's nothing funny going on here. And yeah, we basically just short of a 1-to-1 just there, so not too bad. So basically we have that ABC structure coming up and now we're tracking down. Now for the most part this is actually reasonably short. If I take this, move it over to our high point, just here, we can see that we are, let me just move that a tad, there we go. You can see this come down to about 4.9, okay, so I would expect this to actually be more of a 5-wave move though, based on the 5-wave moves that we had up here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 just here. Okay, we had the ABC up, which I'll go ahead and just label this A, B, and C. And then what we're thinking, or at least what I'm thinking here, is we have 1, 2, come down here, we bounce up, we pull back down, and we finally land at 4.6. Okay, now we take a look at the stochastic RSI. It's actually showing that we should move up, at least on this hourly chart. When we take a look at from the 4-hourly perspective, we actually have it reasonably high, so I would expect some kind of corrective action, and the same with the 8-hour, and the daily is fine. So for the most part, I'm thinking that this is probably going to be the bottom area for a significant move upwards. And we should see 5 waves here. But I would like to be wrong. I would like to be there. I'd like to see this not go down as fully to 4.6, but it is the 1-to-1 ratio that I'm kind of expecting to happen here. So I'm watching out here. If we hit 4.797, that would basically be saying that we are likely to see a 5-wave move at this very end here. So just keeping an eye out for that on this smaller time frame. As we have 5, 3, I would expect to have 5 because the corrective pattern for this would be a zigzag, which would be a 5, 3, 5, which is A, B, and C in total. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm expecting to see here over the next probably 2 days. I wouldn't expect it to take longer than that. This is the hourly chart after all, and it should play out reasonably quickly. Let me just tidy up this chart a little bit there. Okay, so 4.620 to 4.677 is the sweet spot of where I think this is likely to go, but we'll just be aware that we have to pull back quite significantly. This hourly chart, this stochastic RSI, I don't expect it to do anything too amazing, so we'll just keep an eye on that. We might move up higher. We might not be done with the B wave yet. That's also a possibility at this point. We haven't dropped down lower than the origin level here, so we could still move up slightly higher here, and it could be some kind of double corrective pattern playing out inside the B wave. The B waves are so unpredictable. Almost any form of correction is possible. So before we see those 5 waves down, we might first move up. But again, we shouldn't see that necessarily. So I'm going to be open to the idea that it's a simple ABC. But, you know, anything is possible, so just keep an eye on that. If we move on up as based on this hourly stochastic, then you know I think that would be maybe a 3 corrective move, and if it is a 3, then I would expect that to finish and then drop with 5 waves coming down, and we would be overbought if that is the case on the hourly, the 4-hourly, the 8-hourly, etc. So the weekend's going to be a key one to kind of keep an eye out for Vechain there. Now as I come up into our daily chart, we want to kind of highlight what's going on here. Well, we actually have a big kind of move coming down. We had a minor move going up. Across the time frames here, okay, and we're pulling back down. Now we can articulate this in many different ways. So we obviously are thinking that this is going to be the end. We obviously have that little bounce in the middle there. So if we are talking about 4.6 to 4.77 being the end, then essentially what we've got is this ABC structure taking us down here, which is inside a big ABC structure in itself. Again, we have the ABC, and the AI has actually picked up on these micro movements for me, so you can see that there as well. And essentially, we are talking about an ABC upwards as well. So ABC down, ABC up, ABC down. That's a complete move, which basically put us at, if I get this right, 3.908 cent as our low point. We then have this ABC structure coming up. Now, if we think of this as a bigger move, that would be A, this will be B, and we should move up with C, meaning that we'll be moving up quite nicely and quite rapidly here as we start to think about these finishing moves. It might also be an impulsive structure or whatever. Too soon to really know about that. But essentially, yeah, we are tracking quite nicely here. So I would say that this is looking like a good reversal point, specifically on our daily chart. The weekly chart does have some progression to go, though. We do need to bring that down even further, but we might have to first of all bounce on up before we can actually see that kind of pull back down into a slightly, corrective position. Now that weekly chart can throw things a little bit, but the monthly is in a really good spot. So ultimately, I'm not expecting any kind of major moves to occur. Now, it is still possible that we drop down lower than the 4.6, as got labeled up here 4 cent as well. These are possible scenarios, but for now, I think we should really focus in on 4.6 as our low point and look for reversal there and see what happens with the data. Does it actually start to turn into a bullish environment at that point when Bitcoin hits the lows of 36K, for example? Or does that actually incite more fear and we start to see the stochastic RSI move from its oversold area to an overbought area without actually doing much in the way of price discovery or recovery? And as a result of that, you might see this then pull back down even deeper and we end up in a different corrective pattern. So I think there's a couple of things to kind of think about long term, but for the smaller time frames, I would just be thinking about 4.6 cent for now and thinking about the reversal that should happen at that point. But in the future, I think it's always important that we acknowledge that this doesn't necessarily mean that the worst is completely done and over with, because that weekly stochastic RSI is where it is, and it does need to come down, in my opinion. So we'll be looking for sentiment change in order to see that one come down to the oversold area without actually doing too much in the way of price damage. But guys, I'm going to leave it there. Nice brief technical analysis on Vechain, on my thoughts with what's going on with VET. If you found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you'll be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.